Hi, this is Jana London, founder of the Natural Women's Council. In addition to doing work on the school curriculum and keeping schools and libraries safe for children where they can be educated, not indoctrinated, and in addition to campaigning for women's spaces and sports, another core value in the Natural Women's Council is natural health. Myself as a mother and so many moms and dads in our network have a passion for natural health and want to keep their families as healthy as possible in a natural way. So, I want to talk about the school hot lunch program. I did a recent post on this when it first rolled out, and I saw some news articles. So, I'm just going to revisit really quickly some news articles, and then I'm going to share with you some food samples that were delivered to me today. So, I'm going to share some articles with you now so you can be reminded of exactly what the program is all about. So, there we go. Okay, so back in April 2024, Taoiseach Simon Harris and Minister Humphreys announced the rollout of the Hot School Meals program to an additional 900 primary schools. So, an additional 150,000 children will benefit. And it states that it was piloted 5 years ago. Today's expansion is to an additional 150,000 children, which means that over 316,000 children are going to receive a nutritious hot meal during the day. Now, I agree fully that every child in this country should have healthy, nutritious meals, preferably 3 meals a day. But given our cost of living and our poverty crisis, some children are not getting those healthy meals at home. So, therefore, the hot lunch program is so important for those children to get that healthy, that nutritious meal during their school day. So, that's why the Natural Women's Council has taken on the task of looking into the meals to see if they are as healthy and nutritious as Taoiseach Simon Harris and Minister Humphreys has said. I'm just going to scroll down here and see if there's any other. Okay. It states hot school meals make such a valuable contribution to the well being of hundreds of thousands of children, Minister of State Pippa Hackett said. In light of the new green public procurement strategy, all public procurement contracts will see a minimum of 10% certified organic food. I'll talk about the green strategy in a moment. It talks, of course, about the climate action, but we see a lot with that it's all talk and no real action. It's more climate alarmism, if anything. But it states that in terms of biodiversity, climate action, and the increasing number of organic farmers across the country, but most of all, it's good news for the school children who will get tasty, nutritious meals. So let's just have another look at the ingredients. This was an article that came out on April 30th, a great article by Ruth Hegarty. And I'll just scroll down to hit some highlights that I found most shocking. And really, this inspired me to look more closely at it. Um, okay. It does in here state that the chicken with some of the suppliers. Now, I will disclose that there are many different suppliers out there. And I'm sure that with anything, the quality may vary between suppliers and the origin of the food may vary. But until we have the facts, we just don't know. So we are going to be doing some freedom of information requests to request a list of all of the suppliers in which we can contact to ask them for the origin of their food as well as the ingredients of their food. So, as a parent, you really have two choices. You can trust the government blindly and shift that parental responsibility to the government to feed your child. Or, in the case of myself, you can do research if you wish, so you can make the most informed decisions for the health of your children. And I know not every parent has time to do all this research. It's a lot of letter writing, it's a lot of looking into it. So, the Natural Women's Council are going to do some of that work and present that information for parents so then you can make your best choices. Okay, so we know about the Chinese, the chicken listed from China here, and it states that again the chicken was either Europe, South America, Thailand. Pasta bolognese said it was listed as origin Ireland, but the origin of the beef was unclear, and very few vegetables were present. So that was that. This article came out again trying to sell that government lunch program, how the new hot school lunches are going down. It's been a game changer in our house. Now, like many things, I think my children are a minority in this situation. From what I've been told by my children, I think they're one of the only ones in the class who aren't availing of the hot lunch. And I've had to try to explain to them that we do take great pride in we grow our own food, but also preparing healthy lunches for them for their school. And today the children went out and picked strawberries from the polytunnel and peas from the vine there to put in their lunchbox, and they love that. They love growing their own food. I would encourage anybody to start small, growing your own food. That's another conversation for another day. But we started with 4 little vegetable beds a few years ago. Now we have a 30-foot polytunnel and 8 beds outside, and it produces enough food for the family all summer long. Even whereby my daughter had to sell some vegetables at the end of the drive because we had an abundance to share with the community. She earned a few euro on that. Some entrepreneur skills learned along the way. So this article came out on May 20th. And it just talks about teacher's view. The meals arrive every day. We have 2 big ovens. They look a bit like what you might see on an airplane. And the food samples I have today also do. It does talk about the food writer's view. So talks about first impressions are that the portions are big, certainly enough for the older primary school children. They receive 4 meals: chicken curry and rice, roast chicken, potatoes and carrots, chicken curry wrap and baked potato, beans and cheese. So here's some photos there of the boxed up food. There. Doesn't say anything about Chinese chicken. In fact, on this one, they use this company's website lists the Irish suppliers, including Ballymaloe Foods. So that one looks good, but they may have some local food. They may have some that are flown in. We just don't know until we get the information from the Freedom of Information requests. So the parents' view, this parent was delighted down in Limerick. She said, it looks just like my granny's dinner. So maybe she has a different supplier than the ones that I have in front of me, which I'll show you in a moment. So really that's sort of feedback coming from parents and teachers. So all of the food served meets the nutritional standards for hot school meals published under the auspices of Healthy Ireland. Now, if we remember from our library podcast and all of those books, you can visit our YouTube channel or go to our naturalwomanscouncil.ie and click on YouTube. There's a playlist for called Story Time for the Irish Mommy, and many of those books had the Healthy Ireland sticker, and they weren't appropriate for children. So if we can't trust them for content for the child to read, I'm not sure if I would blindly trust Healthy Ireland to feed my child either. And that's the article there. Okay, so now let's get on to the fun part. Let's actually look at some of the food that I have that was delivered to me today. So where shall we start? Start with macaroni and cheese and peas. I've cut off the supplier for confidentiality. I was asked to not disclose where it was delivered to me from. So mac and cheese with peas. Ingredients just say cheese, pasta, and cheese sauce. So that's really all that's in there. So that's your pasta with cheese. Can't really go too wrong with pasta and cheese. The one thing I would say from a nutritional perspective is if you eat a big bowl of pasta in school in the middle of the day, it's it takes a long time to break down and digest. That wheat can cause the stomach to kind of feel a little uncomfortable, even people without a wheat intolerance. And pasta does, it's a very simple carbohydrate for this white pasta, turns right to sugar. So they hit that sugar rush and then you feel really tired after eating pasta. So pasta wouldn't normally be something I would put in my children's lunchbox. Makes us a little bit sleepy. Let's look at the classic meatballs and pasta. It doesn't, does it say, oh, it is made with Irish beef. So this does say made with Irish beef. It has a couple meatballs there. See if there's any more at the bottom. No, this only has two little random meatballs. And again, a big bowl of pasta. doesn't look like many vegetables in there. The sauce is very, very light. So it's tomato sauce. Oops, there goes a meatball. Ooh, okay. Yuck. Doesn't smell very good. Doesn't have a lot of vegetables, a few cubed carrots. But if you do pasta at home, I know you'd be using for pasta sauce lots of good things like mushrooms, onions, garlic, red peppers, carrots, and more. That has a few little diced carrots and a gloop of tomato sauce. Okay, so let's look at this. Oh, sausages. We all love our sausages, potato cubes, and beans. So it has 4 cocktail sausages, and a few cubes of potatoes and beans. Again, vegetables. Potato is a vegetable, but these are like little processed cubes. Sausages are processed, and beans, I'm sure, most beans have sugar. So again, not a lot of vegetables in there. No green veg, no red veg, no colorful fruit or anything like that. Now let's have a look at, chicken dinner. So the one in Limerick who said that this looks like granny's food. Let's see. Chicken dinner with gravy sounds delicious. Oh, that's the chicken dinner with gravy. Again, the vegetables, it's your cubed carrots and peas, 2 scoops of potato, but it has a very weird texture. I've squeezed it. It's sort of powdery. I don't know if it's homemade mashed potato or from a mix. And then there's a few little pieces of chicken. So that's the chicken dinner with gravy. I don't know if it's Chinese chicken. It doesn't say where the chicken is sourced, so that we will be including in our Freedom of Information request. Now I'll save the best for last because I love cottage pie. I just love it, loaded with lots of vegetables, mince and herbs. Oh dear. That to me, if I'm going to be honest, looks like minced up cat food with this little ice cream scoop of potato. So that's the sample I got just from one supplier. Now, again, I'll say that there's many suppliers that may use different quality of foods and get food from different places. Maybe not all the chicken is from China or Thailand or what have you. So I am just sharing what I've seen from one supplier. I'll be putting all these in the bin tonight. We will be doing Freedom of Information Act requests to get a list of all the suppliers, also asking for their origin. Where is the food from? Many schools, like my own, are green schools. So we don't use or haven't historically used until this program came out any single-use packaging. So we were notified as parents. I know when we joined the school community a few years ago, do not bring any, have your child bring any single-use packaging. So we went out and got some lovely reusable bento boxes, which have held up fantastic, and we've used them over the years. And the bento boxes we've used over the years have lasted years. I mean, I can't recommend these enough. They're a little bit dented at times, but they're little bento boxes. They don't leak. I don't work for the company, but they look like this inside. So they have sort of like 4 little holes and then a little treat box in the middle, but they're really, really good. And this morning, I mean, this was this morning's crop from the strawberry beds outside. So kids went out and they picked their lunch for tomorrow. So really colorful lunches. And you have to think, a child's nutrition determines their health and their absenteeism from school. So if a child is eating, fresh bowl of berries versus, a pile of potato and minced beef with no veg, they're going to stay really healthy with that packed nutrition. And you also have to remember that what a child eats determines their behavior, how well they sleep, their ability to sit and focus during the day. Kids have enough energy a day, and it's hard enough for them to be sitting at a desk. Ireland schools do not do what the schools in Finland do, where children get a running break for 10 minutes every hour. In Ireland, the kids sit more than in the Nordic countries, and it's hard for a child to sit all day. But it's even harder if they start eating processed food and a lot of carbs that make them kind of sleepy or whatever. So, you have to think about what's going to be the knock-on effect of the hot lunch program. If we were to look at data now or before the hot lunch program rolled out, and then you look fast forward a few years and you look at data, Did absence rates increase or decrease? What were the school testing results, the behaviors, and all of that? Because you are what you eat, and your children, they are what they eat, and they will behave and learn and sleep and be as healthy as the food that's going into them. So again, I appreciate that not every child in Ireland, particularly where I think in 2023 there were 260,000 children in this country living in poverty in 2023. And we have, 4,000 homeless children. So I completely appreciate that not every child gets 3 square meals and healthy meals a day. So school meals are so important for them. This is why we in the Natural Women's Council are digging into the ingredients, because the Simon Harris and Minister Humphreys are selling that this is to give every child healthy, nutritious meals. And it is so important, particularly for the children who don't get them at home, to have those healthy meals at school. And I think it was 3 euros and 20 cents per meal. And I think the statistic was, I think 300 million a year is being spent. I would ask the schools, why didn't they ask for funding some of that money to go towards even a small greenhouse at school? Imagine if all the schools in Ireland that had the space had a small greenhouse outside the school where the kids could go and tend to the radishes and the carrots and the lettuce and help grow it. And then they get hungry in the day on their break, they can pop in the greenhouse and pick and learn that food comes from the ground or the vine. It doesn't come from a cardboard container with a sticky label filled with this. So it's so important for children to have nutrition, particularly, as I said, the ones who don't get it at home. And that's why for those children who really need this school meal and for it to be healthy, we're going to dig into, is it healthy and nutritious, as Simon Harris has said? So more to follow on that. We're going to get Freedom of Information Act requests done, and we're going to find out the origins of the food, the ingredients, the nutritional value. Children's health is absolutely number one. Their physical health, their mental health, their emotional health. And we take pride in the Natural Women's Council in campaigning for all of that. Thank you very much. Have a great night.